Good evening and welcome. It's that time once again. It's time for this. It's time for the Psychedelicatessen right here on CHIR FM. As usual, I'm your host, Randall Liberon, taking us through 2 hours of some psychedelic rock on a Saturday evening. This is the Canada Day long weekend, and I hope everybody is out there enjoying a good time. It's not necessarily as cranking hot this weekend as it was last weekend, so hopefully everybody who's out there maybe enjoying some camping and things like that are having a good time, or if anybody's still having their more localized parties, you're having a good time. But be smart about it, because the whole point is to have a good time next time. And so let's do this show. What I have in store for us tonight, well, we have some pretty typical, as far as psychedelia goes, typically trippy sets in store. I have some big names in actually like blues that dip their toes in some psychedelic waters. Speaking of waters, it's going to be Muddy Waters. So we're going to check out a track from the 1968 LP Electric Mud much later in the show. We have a bunch of stuff to get to before that. We're going to have some Pink Floyd off of their first album before we get there. We're going to have some Steppenwolf from 1969 before we get there. But I think to start everything off tonight and acknowledge that it is the Canada Day weekend, we're going to run with some Gordon Lightfoot. This is one of the songs of his that I've played on the show before. I'm playing it again now. Why? Because I like it. So kicking it all off tonight, this is Gordon Lightfoot with Sundown.
I can see her lying back in her satin dress, in a room where you do what you don't confess. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. She's been looking like a queen in a sailor's dream, and she don't always say what she really means. Sometimes I think it's a shame when I get feeling better when I'm feeling no pain. Sometimes I think it's a shame when I get feeling better when I'm feeling no pain. I can picture every move that a man could make. Getting lost in her loving is your first mistake. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. Sometimes I think it's a sin when I feel like I'm winning when I'm losing again. I can see her looking fast in her faded jeans. She's a hard-loving woman, got me feeling mean. Sometimes I think it's a shame when I get feeling better when I'm feeling no pain. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. Sundown, you better take care if I find you've been creeping round my back stairs. Sometimes I think it's a sin when I feel like I'm winning when I'm losing again.
Listen to my bluebird laugh. She can't tell you why. Deep within her heart, you see, she knows all the crying, just lying. Yeah. There she sits, a lofty perch, strangest color blue. Flying is forgotten now. Things only of you, just you. Oh, so get all those blues, must be 1,000 years, and each is differently used. You just know. You sit there mesmerized by the depth of her eyes, if you can categorize. She got soul, she got soul, she got soul, she got soul. Do you think she loves you? Do you think at all? Soon she's going to fly away. Sadness is her own. Give herself a bath of tears and go home and go home.
Buffalo Springfield Bluebird was the second one of the first set tonight. Gordon Lightfoot's Sundown got it all going. And this is the Psychedelicatessen on CHIR FM. Next up on the show, we're going to run with Steppenwolf. A little while back, I did the Steppenwolf special where the 2 hours was dedicated to the band. I hadn't played Steppenwolf all that much going into that show, and I really haven't played them a whole lot coming out of that show, but I thought tonight was a great night to do it. Partially in response to what's going down in the United States right now with the reversal on the Roe versus Wade decision with the Supreme Court and just how weird things are these days, as if there isn't enough that sort of seems to be driving people apart. When is it ever gonna just sort of chill out for a bit and we can all breathe? So I thought that this song from Steppenwolf was a good one to just sort of talk about how, well, this is almost the norm, and it's kind of sad to acknowledge that. So from Steppenwolf, from the LP Monster, this is the title track, Monster, Suicide, America.
The religious, the hunted and weary, chasing the promise of freedom and hope, came to this country to build a new vision, far from the reaches of kingdom and gold. Like the Christians, some would burn the witches, later some got slaves to gather riches, but still from near and far to seek America, they came by thousands to guard the wild. But she just patiently smiled and bore a child to be the spirit and guiding light. And once the ties with the crown had been broken, westward and saddle and wagon it went, until the railroad linked ocean to ocean. Many the lives which had come to an end, while we bullied, stole and bought a homeland, we began the slaughter of the red man. But still from near and far to seek America, they came by thousands to guard the wild. But she just patiently smiled and bore a child to be the spirit and guiding light. The blue and gray, they stopped it, they kicked her just like a dog. And when the war was over, they stopped it just like a hog. And though the past has its share of injustice, kind was the spirit in many a way. But its protectors and friends have been sleeping. Now it's a monster and will not obey. The spirit was freedom and justice, and its keepers seemed generous and kind. Its leaders were supposed to serve the country, but now they won't pay no mind. 'Cause the people grew fat and got lazy, and now their vote is a meaningless joke. They babble about law and order, but it's all just an echo of what they've been told. Yeah, there's a monster on the loose, it's got our heads into the noose, and it just sits there watching. The cities have turned into jungles, and corruption is strangling the land. The police force is watching the people, and the people just can't understand.
Steppenwolf, Monsters, Suicide, America was the track that we just heard, and a bit of a Canadian connection with them, with John Kay and the Sparrows having started off in Canada before moving down to Southern California to start the whole Steppenwolf mythology with their band, and of course helping popularize some of the concepts around heavy metal, with Heavy Metal Thunder being a main line from the song Born to Be Wild. And maybe they weren't necessarily the heaviest or originators of heavy metal, but I think there's a little bit of their DNA in that genre. Next up in the show, fellow travelers, well, this is going to be one of those more classically weird sets, and definitely moving away from heavy metal vibes on this one. We're going to go across the Atlantic and land in the UK and check out this guy. This is Donovan, and we're going to check out from him a song called Bleak City Woman.
She came with the blue jeans on, wanting to star in a song. Get you with your ins and outs of it. You're coming on strong, so strong. I tell you what I'm gonna do. Gonna make love to you. She lifted my spirits high. I noticed the dream in her eye. Softly I entered her garden, parting her veil with a sigh. I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give my love to you. I tidied up my last affair. I lost so much I don't care. Felt like a fool in a foolery, but I'm well on the way to repair. I know you ain't no hang-on, baby, you can star in a song. I took a look inside her head. I saw a Victorian bed. I took her to the fair green country. I'm so weary of the life I've led. I'll tell you what we're gonna do. Gonna live in love so true.
debut, released in 1966. That was the 13th Floor Elevators with Roller Coaster. Before that, a West Coast band called Moby Grape. From them, we heard Indifference. Donovan, Bleak City Woman, got that set rolling. And next up on the show, fellow travelers, we're going to stay in Southern California for a little bit longer before jumping back over to the UK. When we go back to the UK, we're going to check out a cut from Kevin Ayers. We're going to see a song for Insane Times. had come across the airwaves. And I guess, yeah, that's a pretty apt title for where the world is at these days. But before we get into that one, like I said, we're going to stay in Southern California. This is one of the friends of Frank Zappa. Back then, he was known as Don Van Vliet. And of course, by the time he was laying down some stuff professionally, we all knew him as Captain Beefheart. So from the LP Strictly Personal, which was the follow-up to his first release in 67, this one came out in 68, although this one sort of seems to have been the title track from his debut. From Strictly Personal, this is Safe as Milk.
Safe
Is that too low? About right?
I want it.
People say that they want to be free. They look at him and they look at me, but it's only themselves they are wanting to see, and everybody knows about it. We talk all night and we're all turned on. Everybody heard him singing his song, telling us there was work to be done, and we all sung the chorus of I Am the Walrus. Yes, Disneyland has come to town. Everyone's dressed and standing around. Alice is wearing her sexiest gown, but she doesn't want you to look at her. Beautiful people are queuing to drown. They wait for the lifeguard to put on his crown, but he's up at the other end of town, trying to talk to the mirror. And he knows what he means. He sits on the floor and has beautiful dreams. Then he gets brought down by a woman who screams, but he knows it's only a record. Oh yes it is. His brave new girl stops feeding the ants and looks at him with her septic pants. She still knows how to make him dance. And forget about emancipation, it's all imagination. And you and I, we sit and hum. We know something's got to come to get us off our endless bum. There's probably one in the bathroom or in the hall.
About the story of a madden in darkness. It leaves your hands and your face with clouds. Your mind starts to wonder and your body's left shaking. Your mom feels cry as your bones start aching.
You wanna know the pattern that'll grip your life. Your heart starts pounding while you're breathing real bright.
Her face got white like stuns aside. Ears hear the sound of a real fright.
Oh, now.
I felt like being consciously and conspicuously weird by playing that last song. That was the Holy Modal Rounders, If You Want to Be a Bird. Take that one from 1969's Easy Rider soundtrack. That soundtrack is a really great one for the era. I mean, it's probably one of my most listened to soundtracks from that era, despite the fact that the opening song for the Psychedelicatessen uses a song from the 1966 movie and soundtrack, The Wild Angels. Of course, that was a Peter Fonda movie, and that's where you get that motorcycle and the buzzsaw riff by Davey Allen and the Arrows doing Blues' theme. Of course, Peter Fonda is known as Blues in that one. So, digress. Although I guess there is that connection because Peter Fonda was the biker in Easy Rider, one of the bikers. So, like how things tie together. Before the Holy Modal Rounders, we had Iron Butterfly with Real Fright. Kevin Ayers with Song for Insane Times before that. Captain Beefheart, Safe as Milk before that. We're going to hang out in, well, the UK for this one. Pink Floyd released their debut LP, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, in 1967. They were sharing the Abbey Road studios, the EMI studios at the time. The Beatles were recording Sgt. Pepper's when they were recording their own debut. So a little bit of weird psychedelic energy in the building at that time. And this is Pink Floyd laying down their epic on that opening album. This is Interstellar Overdrive here on CHIR FM. That was a song that was used as a launching pad for some of their own interstellar journeys when playing live and going off into psychedelic improvisation. Pink Floyd, Interstellar Overdrive, the studio version from their debut LP, Piper at the Gates of Dawn. This is the Psychedelicatessen right here on CHIR FM. I'm your host, Randall Liberon, guiding this trip, and we're going to go from maybe the more psychedelically weird sort of music to more sort of psychedelic blues sort of theme stuff for this next little while. Some really guitar-centric work going on. Harvey Mandel is up next. He did some time in Canned Heat. This is him from a solo album called Cristo Redentor. This is the one that opened up that LP, and I think that's going to be a fitting one to get this sort of half of the show going. This is Wade in the Water. with the title cut from his 1969 LP Red Weather. That was former Blue Cheer guitarist Lee Stevens laying down that guitar-centric workout. Harvey Mandel, a guitarist who did some time with Canned Heat, was the one who started off that pair of songs with Wade in the Water. Next up on the Psychedelicatessen, fellow travelers, we're going to do that cut from Muddy Waters that I mentioned way back at the start of the show, going to 1968 and the Electric Mud album. This is an album where he reinterpreted a couple of the older songs in a more contemporary style for 1968. A lot of sort of fuzzed out acid influenced blues on this one. And I mean, I gotta say, this was a big album for me when I discovered it. I got a lot of play out of it back in the summer of 2003. That's when I discovered it by signing it out from the Greater Victoria Public Library. They had some interesting CDs at that time. I used to go and frequent it. Found this one, changed my mind about Muddy Waters and what he was laying down. So he's going to lay this one down. Coming at us, this is I Just Want to Make Love to You.
Be no slave. I don't want you to work all day. I don't want you sad and blue. I just want to make love to you, love to you. I don't want you to wash my clothes. I don't want you to keep me whole. I don't want your money too. I just want to make love to you, love to you, love to you. I'll make love to you. And walk, I can see by the way you baby talk. I can know by the way you treat your man that I can love you, babe, until it's a crying shame. I don't want you to cook my bread. I don't want you to make my bed. Because I'm sad and blue. I just want to make love to you. I'll make love to you. I'll make love to you.
world's in a tangle, dark clouds most everywhere. Gotta breathe this air and nobody seems to care. Wanna tell all you people the battle has just begun. Wanna tell all you people the battle has just begun. Some black day we might not see the sun. So sad, we're had. People peeping and a hiding, you know that they're afraid to see. People peeping and a hiding, you know that they're afraid to see. They got blinders on, can't see you or me. You listen to me, old folk, this old world gotta change. Listen to me, you old folk, this world has gotta change. If the bombs start falling, there'll be no more home on the range. So sad, it's bad. consideration and shake things up a bit. Some say no, but still we must insist. Too much smoke, too much gas, too little green, and it's going fast. Help us out or we'll shake your yes, yes, yes. It's bad. You know I had.
Muddy Waters was Canned Heat from their 1970 release Future Blues, also the last album that featured the classic lineup that also had Harvey Mandel on guitar. He departed in July of 1970, and so he managed to slide in on that recording on that last one. From Future Blues, we just heard So Sad, The World's in a Tangle, and of course it's another one of those ones that sort of seems to be rather contemporarily themed if you look at what's going on in the world. Next up on the show, fellow travelers, we're going to do one from Neil Young and Crazy Horse from the album Zuma. I figured because it is the Canada Day weekend, let's throw in some more Canadian centric or at least connected work, and how can we not have some Neil Young? This is the first track in a really extended set. Let's see if you can recognize what it is that follows this one up. If you don't worry, I'll tell you what it is when we come back. So let's get into it. This is Neil Young and Crazy Horse, Cortez the Killer.
looking for the new world and the palace in the sun. On the shore Montezuma with his coca leaves and pearls. In his halls he often wandered with the secrets of the world. And his subjects gathered round him like the leaves around the tree, in their clothes of many colors for the angry gods to see. And the women all were beautiful, and the men stood straight and strong. He offered life and sacrifice so that others could go on. Hate was just a legend, and war was never known. People worked together, and they lifted many stones, and they carried them to the flatlands, but they died along the way, and they built up with their bare hands what we still can't do today. And I know she's living there, and she loves me to this day. I still can't remember when or how I lost my way. He came dancing across the water, Cortez, Cortez, what a killer.
Mother Earth is pregnant for the third time, for y'all have knocked her up. I have tasted the maggots in the mind of the universe. I was not offended, for I knew I had to rise above it all, or drown in my own shit.
Great guitar solo by Eddie Hazel. Of course, Eddie Hazel from the band Funkadelic. That song is called Maggot Brain. All right, fellow travelers, this is Psychedelicatessen right here on CHIR FM, and we're going to look at the final set of songs for the night, and we're going to do a very sort of Beatles-centric set, but it's going to be 3 ex-Beatles on this set. From the album Imagine, we're going to run one from John Lennon. We're going to check out his scathing attack on Paul McCartney with How Do You Sleep? But before we get into that one, let's do one by George Harrison. George Harrison was the he released an amazing outing, a triple LP, All Things Must Pass, an amazing example of the work that maybe he wasn't being able to produce while still in the Beatles. And of course, the weight of Lennon-McCartney's songwriting partnership was a heavy burden for George to try to get around. So when he released All Things Must Pass, well, that was quite the statement from him. So this is that track. This is All Things Must Pass right now on the Psychedelicatessen. We stepped way out of the typical confines of this show, which usually sees us cut things off at 1975, to take that track from 2005. The artist Paul McCartney, and that's the hidden track from the Chaos and Creation in the Backyard album. That was I've Only Got Two Hands. I did pretty cool piece of music for me. Granted, I don't really listen to the rest of that album. I just have taken that track off of the track listing myself, and well, I've listened to it a lot like that, and so I thought, yeah, let's do that tonight. Before that, we had John Lennon Imagine's track How Do You Sleep? George Harrison, All Things Must Pass at the start. And with that, fellow travelers, we find ourselves at the final song of the night. The honors goes to The Music Machine. This is a blasting, short, under 2-minute song from 1966. Bringing it all on home tonight. This is Talk Talk.
Got me a complication, and it's an only child. Concern my reputation, something more than what I know it serves me right, but I can't sleep at night. Have to hide my face or go some other place. I won't cry out for justice, admit that I was wrong. I'll stay in hibernation till the talk subsides to gone. My social life's a dud. My name is really mud. I'm up to hearing lies. I guess I'm down to size. Can't seem to talk about the things that bother me. Seem to be what everybody has. The situation and how it really stands. I'm out of circulation. I've all but washed my hands. My social life's a dud. My name is really mud. I'm up to hearing lies. I guess I'm down to size.
All right, fellow travelers, that's it. We've made it through to the other side of it, another edition of the Psychedelicatessen. I want to thank all of you for taking the time to tune into this. I want to thank CHIR for providing a home base for this show. And you know what? Stick around for some more great music. We got Dave Gordon with Ranger Dave coming up next. And until next time, we'll catch you later, and be cool to one another. Peace.
Walking in the morning, dew, my honey.